Welcome to Confidently Visible. This is a podcast to help you move through visibility blocks such as fear, resistance, and overwhelm to put life-changing work out into the world and to grow your career or your business. I'm your host, Beck Sands. I am a visibility mentor, a certified life coach, and award-winning PR consultant, and I'm based in sunny Newcastle, Australia. Let me guide you to show up as your unique self, share your incredible work, and to grow your audience with more consistency, ease, and flow. Whether you're a consultant, an entrepreneur, a CEO, a coach, or a creative, this is the space to unlock your uniqueness, to grow your audience, to make a bigger impact, all while feeling good about being seen. The world needs to hear your message. Now let's get started. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Confidently Visible podcast. So wonderful to have you here with me today. I'm going to be chatting through, and this is a very exciting topic to me. It's something I've been thinking about a lot more and more of, is how to hold the level of success you want. So if you've ever heard anything or learned anything about manifesting, then you'll probably have heard one of the main tenets of manifesting is becoming the person that you want to be before you even receive the thing. So let's say you want to be the successful business owner, picturing yourself in that successful business owner in their shoes, or picturing yourself as that person, as if it's already happening now, as if it's already happened for you. And so being able to visualize yourself as the person that you're wanting to be, as the person that you're wanting to create, in the life that you're wanting to create for yourself, and imagining yourself having it now before you actually get it, right? And so that's one of the main tenets of manifesting. But I always felt like there was quite a big gap between where I was and even being able to visualize what I wanted, right? So I would be like, I really want to visualize being in the footsteps of the person that I am in future. I want to be able to visualize being in her shoes. And I really struggled to visualize it. I was like, there just feels like such a gap between where I am now and where she is in future. And I can't even picture myself in her shoes right now. So that's the main thing that I struggled with when it came to manifesting. So what I am wanting to do in this podcast episode is to help to bridge the gap. So I've learned a few things about manifesting, but also about stepping into and being able to hold a new level of reality that I wanted to create for myself and actually enjoy it as well. And so today I'm going to share 5 different steps to help you to be able to create the same and to help you to be able to become the person that you really want to be and to be able to hold that level of success. So let's get into this. So I'm gonna share with you in this episode why success isn't about doing more. It's about becoming more. It's about who you become. I'm going to share how to close the gap between your current identity and your next level identity. I'm going to share the power of very small incremental upgrades and how they can help to raise your baseline. I'm going to share why parenting yourself can help you to build trust, safety, and consistency. How to create a compelling vision that expands what feels possible for you in your life. What it really means to become the person that you want to be. And why getting out of your comfort zone is essential for growth and for visibility. And I'm going to share throughout this a simple 5-step framework that you can start to use as well to step into your next level with intention. So here's the 5-step process. The first one is incremental upgrades. Now, this is something that I have been doing, particularly ramping up throughout 2026. And it's something that I feel really supports me to step into the person that I want to manifest and step into that level of abundance, step into that level of success, and being able to hold that level of success without burning out, without feeling overwhelmed. Without regressing constantly back into old habits that don't serve me. So these incremental upgrades are the first step to really stepping into and becoming this person. And what it really means is letting go of the things that I thought I deserved, that I feel like I deserved, and allowing myself to have more, to literally have more, and to hold more. And this doesn't need to look like huge upgrades. Like I said, these are incremental upgrades. So these are little things. So for example, I'm going to say, so tiny habit improvements. So things like drinking more water, things like, making sure that you're eating like healthy meals when you want to have energy for the rest of the day, and treating yourself when you want to treat yourself, but just really owning those decisions and being like, how am I going to feel after I eat this? Cool. I'm going to make sure that I'm having something that nourishes my body before I have a big afternoon of meetings, for example. It might mean up-leveling sleep habits. So that could mean just getting an extra 15 minutes of sleep every single night. It could mean like doing a meditation in the mornings, whatever that looks like for you. And I personally am just trying to implement these one at a time. So not like a barrage, like I'm just being kind to myself and just going, I don't need to do every single thing at once. I don't need to change every single thing at once. And in fact, I know that nothing will stick if I try and do that, but it's just like, just try and do one little thing at a time that I know over time, this is going to massively support me and create bigger changes. So like, for example, if I'm drinking water more throughout the day, then I'm going to be more hydrated. I'm going to maybe not get a headache. I'm maybe not going to feel as tired at 3 p.m. Maybe I will get a little bit more done, be a bit more productive, be a bit more creative, and feel better at the end of the day. Okay, so these little shifts can really add up on a day-to-day basis, done consistently, not necessarily every single day, but at least generally consistently. You don't have to be perfect at it for it to work. So these little habits implemented like daily, most of the time, while being kind to yourself if you miss a day, being kind to yourself if you want to take a break or a holiday, or you've got too busy a day and you don't get it done. That's okay. Just as soon as you realize, oh, I didn't drink any water, I'm going to get back on that the next day. And it's these little things that you can just choose one little habit, and then done consistently, they could really work. And habits don't just need to be around like physical things. They could also be around how you're working. So it could be implementing a boundary, like not checking email as soon as you get to your desk. This is a big one for me because I've always felt like I need to be on email all the time. I do have the urge to reply to emails immediately. I feel like I've always been, overly available for my clients and colleagues, and I'm always just on email. And so creating that boundary for me has been life-changing in the way, or work-changing or game-changing, whatever you'd want to look at it. But in the way that it now enables me to get so much more done, right? So I now can just get more deep, focused work done instead of just doing busy work, instead of just constantly checking email, replying to email, feeling like, oh, yep, I'm progressing now. I'm moving forward. I'm getting stuff done. I'm, keeping everyone happy. I'm busy. But then at the end of the day, not actually moving forward those creative projects that I really want to move forward, if that makes sense. So these habits could look like so many different things, but just identify one thing at a time that you need to work on, and then start to implement that this week. So this can also look like potentially stopping doing something. I know for me, if I am drinking wine during the week, that can be a bit of a self-sabotage. Even having a glass of wine and then you're sort of like, oh, wake up feeling a bit tired. Maybe I won't do my meditation. Maybe I'll just sleep in a bit. And like, it's fine. Like I'm totally fine if I do that, or if I go out, or if I've got an event, or if I just want to do that. Okay, own it. But I know that doing that every single day during the week is not going to serve me. And so having the habit of, instead of having a glass of wine in the afternoon, I go to Pilates and I wrap up the day and de-stress in that way. And I know personally that serves me so much more, even though the easy option that I want to do is probably just have a glass of wine and chill out. That'd be great. But I know that doesn't serve me. And so having that as a habit to, instead of doing that, just go to Pilates and, or even if not that, then go for a walk, or just, do something different and unwind, and just really have the rule that I don't generally drink alcohol during the week, and that really, really serves me. So what is the habit that you need to work on the most right now, and how can you start to implement that this week? Okay, choose one at a time. Okay. So that's the first step in this process, is incremental upgrades. So the second thing is parenting yourself. Now, I first heard about this by a lady named Tori Dunlap in her podcast, The Financial Feminist, which I love. I've been listening to that podcast a lot. It's not the first time I'd heard about self-parenting, but she framed it in a way for business that I found really useful. And that was that instead of like just pushing through like we normally do, we really need to support ourselves by taking care of ourselves in the way almost that a parent would a child. So thinking about things like snacks, taking snacks, because, if you just push through and you don't eat, then your blood sugar will get low, and then, you might, not feel as good. You might feel a bit tired by the end of the day. You're probably not going to be as productive. You're probably not going to think clearly, but like just taking care of yourself, almost the way a parent would a child, and making sure that you've got everything you need, because most of the time we don't do that for ourselves. And I also have been thinking about this in the way of taking it one step further. And so Dr. Martha Beck talked about this in an anxiety series meditation on Insight Timer, the app. And I absolutely loved it. But it's about thinking about your anxiety almost like if you open the door and on your doorstep is a tiny little fluffy animal. Okay, like just picture this like fluffy bunny or fluffy kitten or fluffy puppy. And it's like shaking and scared, right? And, how are you going to treat that shaking, scared little animal? You're going to speak to it in really soothing, calm tones, right? You're going to like, it's okay, come here. You're going to like give it a hug, and you're going to like try and make it feel better, right? Like you're going to try and make it feel comfortable and do whatever you can do to do that. And if you think of your anxiety as like that scared little animal, because that's kind of what it is. Like it's your inner child saying, I'm not getting what I need. Red alert. We need to like be vigilant, and we need to like raise the alarm essentially. And this all happens subconsciously. And so if we can, and this is like one of the best tools I've found with anxiety in terms of like really practical tools that work, because when you're in a really hyper anxious state, breathing does not work. It's too late for that. Unfortunately. So being able to kind of go, oh, I can visualize this anxiety as this scared little thing, and almost just comfort it and say, hey, are you okay? Like, what do you need? Rather than going, No, get out, shut up, go away, and like almost like bashing it over the head or something like that, you know? And that's what we often do with our anxiety when it comes up. We're like, no, go away. Like you're trying to beat it down into submission. When actually, if you think about it like this scared little animal, what you actually need to do is invite it in and go, hey, like, are you okay? You know, everything's going to be okay. What do you need right now in this moment? You know, what's happening for you? I'm going to sit here and listen to you. Like, I'm going to put a blanket around you. And if you think about that, like, you've got to give your anxiety that space to kind of really just to be and to feel and acknowledge it and sort of give it what it needs, because it is that scared little child feeling like it's not getting what it needs. So those two things in tandem, I think, can work really, really well in helping you to up-level the way that you treat yourself, the way that you talk to yourself, the way that you deal with day-to-day anxiety, and the way that you're, I guess, moving through the world. Because if you're thinking about your needs in this way, then you're so much more likely to be able to hold more stress. You're going to be able to hold more problems and challenges, because the higher you go in terms of your level of success, often the bigger the problems and challenges are. It doesn't need to be a bad thing, but like it's definitely preferable, I think, to having a different set of problems that are at a level where you don't want to be at. But it can still feel really tricky. And I think that if you're taking care of yourself in a really big way, then you're going to be so much more able to hold and welcome and accept those challenges and take them in your stride. Okay, so the first one was incremental upgrades. The second was parenting yourself. The third thing to do to be able to hold that level of success and close the gap between where you are now and that vision of where you want to be is to literally create the vision. So creating that big picture vision for yourself, even if it's only a snapshot of what you can see for yourself, is going to be so important to being able to take the action to bring that into reality. Because if you don't know where you're going, how on earth are you going to be able to get there? And often we can kind of see the big picture, or we can see a snapshot of the big picture if we allow ourselves to do so. But then, of course, we can't really see each action step that it will take to get there. And that's okay, because we're never going to have a complete roadmap for a path that hasn't been traveled before. Okay, and that's our own unique journey. So we don't need it though. And so it's about being able to cultivate that trust and being able to know that you can handle anything that comes your way. And this 5-step process is a part of that. It's a part of being able to hold that. Okay. So creating that big picture vision can really just look like, you know, writing it down. It can look like closing your eyes in a meditation and picturing where you want to be in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years. What does your life look like? What does your work look like? And just see what comes up for you, because I know what comes up for me is this feeling that, do I deserve that? Like, am I worthy of that? Can I handle that? And that is really what the work is. It is that the work of being able to step into the person that deserves that, you know, because sometimes I think that we're so conditioned to believe that the people that have or create or do something are special, right? We other people, we create celebrities out of people. We go, oh, well, they must have something special that I don't have. And that's why they've been able to create that level of success. When often it's not that. It's just that they stuck, you know, they created the vision and they stuck to the path. They were able to take the action and move through problems and challenges and become that person that could hold that level of success. And we've also heard stories of people that got that level of success and then they let it all go, or they, like, you know, spent all their money, or, you know, like those celebrities that worked really hard and then they can't hold that. And they're like, okay, I'm just going to like go and do drugs or something. I don't know. But just, people that got to that level and then couldn't hold it either. So this is all about the journey of who you're becoming along the way as well. It's not just about that end destination. Okay, so create the big picture vision. That's number 3. Number 4 is about becoming the person already living this vision. So really thinking about who is that person? What are their habits? And practically thinking about it in really like practical terms. So what does that person like, what would they do when they wake up in the morning? What are their decisions throughout the day? Who are they hanging out with? What kind of work are they doing? What kind of work ethic do they have? How do they deal with challenges? How do they deal with problems? How do they show up, like regardless of whatever's happening? And often like I would project this person that's like feeling great all the time. I'd be like, oh yeah, the vision of that person who has all that stuff just has a perfect life and they feel great all the time and they don't have any of the emotional highs and lows, which is not realistic, right? Like no one is like that. So therefore, I think sometimes we can create this false vision of the person that is in the shoes that we want to be in or that has created the thing that we want to create. And we're thinking like, yeah, they're going to be doing it, but like in a perfect world. And the thing is that there is no perfect world. And we can understand this, I think, when we really lay it out like that and we think about it from a practical level. But I guess like when you're kind of envisaging this stuff, like when you're creating the vision for your life and when you're thinking about the person that has all these things, you kind of like create this vision with this perfect person in mind. And you kind of go like, oh yeah, they never have problems that they have to struggle with. I mean, they've got all this money. What problems do they have? Or like, oh, they've done the book. Like what other problems could they possibly ever have? But I think the thing that we need to take into account is that there isn't ever going to be a perfect version of ourselves, right? There's never going to be a perfect version of ourselves that we can then create from. Like we can build our reality from. It just is never going to happen. And if we wait for that, we're going to be waiting for a very, very long time. And so it's creating this vision and bring it to life in an imperfect reality with all of our, like our faults and our moods and the challenges that we've got. We might have a better set of challenges, but we're still going to have a set of challenges. And so like creating the vision and becoming that person with all these practical things in mind, knowing that it's not going to be perfect, knowing that you're still going to have those like, challenges of like you're still going to have a cycle and still going to have those moods throughout it. You're still a human. You're still going to feel things like sadness and grief and anger and shame and hurt. And you're going to be feeling these and you're going to feel the full spectrum of emotions every single day, right? So not like, creating this false impression of the person that has all this stuff that lives in an oasis in a perfect world with perfect moods and zero challenges, because it's not going to happen. Okay. So becoming the person also is just getting clear on what that person, how they respond to challenges. How do they show up every day? What are their habits? What are their rituals? What are their routines? What are they doing with work? What are they doing when it comes to challenges? Who are they surrounding themselves with? And all of those practical things that we can think of that might mean we do need to up-level some things. Like, for example, if you're wanting to create this like really incredible business and you spend all of your spare time binge watching Netflix, then that might need to change, because that might not be a habit that the person at that level does. Okay. So it's like really getting clear on what those habits and what those responses and who that person is and how you can start to become that person now, even when you've got faults, which we all do and we all always will. Okay. And so the 5th point here to hold the level of success that you want is to get out of your comfort zone. So every single day, being able to take an action that's going to step you forward, step you out of the status quo and start to build what it is that you're wanting to create. And being able to, do things that you haven't done before, take some risks, step out of your everyday habits and routines and rituals. Stop watching so much TV, if that's something that you do. Don't get me wrong, I'm not picking on anything in particular. I love watching TV and Netflix. And I have my favorite shows, just like everyone, but I really do try and restrict my TV watching just to one episode at a time. Or if it's a short, if it's 20 or 25 minutes, then 2 episodes. But I really try and stick to an hour of TV a day. Okay. And the reason for that is because I want to make sure that I'm in bed by a certain time to get a really good sleep so that I've got enough energy for the next day so that I'm feeling really good. It's so that I have time to do the other things that I want to do and so that I'm not spending all my time just watching TV. But I also love reading books. And so I'm you can do the same thing with books, right? You can just read and read and read, and then it can stop you from creating anything. And so I also try and create before I'm reading books and other content. Okay, so let's recap. I feel like I covered a lot in this episode. Let's recap. So the 5-step process on how to hold the level of success and bridging the gap between where you are now and creating that vision of who you could be and who you want to step into. And even before you consider bringing that vision into reality, but even just bridging the gap between where you are now and creating that vision, here's the 5-step process to do that. So first thing is incremental upgrades. The second thing is to parent yourself and take care of yourself in a big way. The third thing is to create the big picture vision and hold that in your mind as to what it is that you're creating. The fourth thing is to become the person and really take on the habits and rituals and reactions and responses that person would do. The fifth thing is to get out of your comfort zone. So make sure that you're taking action every single day and doing different things so that you're moving further towards where you want to go. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you have loved this episode. I've absolutely loved bringing it to you, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Thank you so much for tuning in to Confidently Visible. I have loved being here with you today. I hope today's conversation inspired you to share your unique gifts with courage and to show up boldly and move through some of the visibility blocks that are holding you back. Now, if you loved this episode, I would love it if you could please leave a rating and review and share it with a friend who needs to hear this so that we can get this podcast into the ears of more listeners. If you're ready to become confidently visible for your career or your business, make sure that you head on over to becksands.com and sign up for my weekly newsletters where I share information, stories, and resources that I don't share anywhere else. Until next time, keep showing up as the amazing, unique you that the world needs.